minutes to settle down.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So maybe we'll go to Yongyang because you're in Korea.
Yes, long time no see, everyone. I've received a email from oncologist about the cervical carcinoma case report. So Dr. Gayan and I talked through this, and I want to get a confirm from you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You can share your screen.
yes. So can you see my screen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you AQ238 and the next page. So AQ3 is about funding. So do we have
Oh no, just say no funding.
Oh, no funding, okay. And so I was wondering, I already listed conflict of interest in the last page.
Uh-huh.
So I wonder why they included this. So I just wanted to ask you this.
Yeah, that's yeah.
This will be enough, right?
Yeah, that'll be enough. I don't
Uh,
know.
No more. Okay. And the main thing is the caption for figure 1.
Uh-huh.
So let me show you the figure. So can you see the caption?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about if this caption is okay or not.
It's little bit long. It reads like a text.
Mm, yeah.
So like the title of figure one could be serial images of serial images of a patient with, yeah, I think that's fine because you would, I mean yeah, I'll change to serial images of a patient.
Serial images of a patient.
Yeah, of a patient with MSI high, cervical carcinoma, respond carcinoma, receiving nivo and ipilimumab,
Mm,
something like that. It doesn't have to be telling the whole story. It's
okay.
just telling you what are these figures. These are the images of this patient. Period. A is a PET scan. Yeah. But the other ones, so D could be, a CT scan, 6 weeks after Nivo AP. So all these texts, were they described in the text, or
Yeah, they are described in the text in a slightly different words. So Dr. Kayan also, we talked about that it might be too long, so maybe you can just shorten this a bit.
yeah, if most of it is in the text, I would just A is PET scan at what time point, B is PET scan at what time point, C is CT scan at what time point. But you could because there's a 72, You can still
Any-
leave, yeah, measuring description of the tumor and how big it is,
Mhm.
because it's not, it's a small figure. Yeah, just make it a lot shorter.
Just include the timeline. Mm,
Yeah, and then tumor size. So
tumor
for instance, the D, it's like a sentence after. So D has to be, like the same format, CT scan at how
Oh.
many weeks, after what treatment, and then you can
Mm.
say, and then you say tumor, size of what.
Mm. Okay. Mm. Do so do you think about E do we do you think we should include that it shows durable response for more than 2.5 years? It's already in the text, but
So E is, because you say 2.5 year plus, but you have to say what time, how many, is it 2.5 years after starting Nivo-IP?
yes.
So you have to say CT scan at 2.5 years or something.
At 2.5 years. Okay.
Yeah, after starting. Yeah,
Dual immunotherapy.
yeah, that's all you have to say. People will know 2.5 years is durable.
Okay, I'll make sure the timeline is clear.
Yeah.
And the next page, so do we have group contributors? I'm not sure
No,
if it's
no.
no. Okay, so the funder name is not available. Okay, yeah. The figure caption is the main thing that I wanted to ask. So I think that's about it for me.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is what journal?
The oncologist.
Oncologist. So
Yes.
this is, they accepted it and they just need it's like a proofreading, right?
Yeah, it's the final stage. So after I submitted this, I think it will be in the publication process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it's good that you always come back to ask questions. And it's good that you could finish this before you start residency.
Yes.
Because this is what happens. I mean, I can tell you, people get into residency and this revision process is so tedious because you have to address every single question each time. It's go back and forth. And they're busy with their work, whatever it is, and then it just gets delayed for many years. And I forget what project that was.
Yes.
So a lot of projects gets lost this way. So
Mm.
you have to be persistent in addressing these. Otherwise, it's very hard to get things done. But thank you for being persistent. It just, you just have to have a checklist. I have to do this by this, because if you respond too late, then you have to start all over again. Yeah, thank you. And then yeah, everyone who submits paper, just they're gonna be similar questions. And my advice is, read the instruction very much in detail and don't always follow the rules, because they will get back at you if some small details are not consistent with their guidelines. Okay, Grace.
Okay, hello. So for my updates for the first off, the for the pacemakers abstract for ASCO, Dr. Liam and I submitted the poster. It was due yesterday, and so that's all ready. I also have to start working on the World Lung poster soon, so that could be uploaded for e-poster.
Mm.
And then for the variant classification project, I told you yesterday, I'm a little delayed on my schedule, but I'm almost done generating all the codes for it to be inputted into each of the in silico tools. It just took a longer time because there's a lot more than I expected.
Mm.
But that's almost done. And then I'll be communicating with like Eileen and Lena to like distribute that. And also hopefully Dr. Eugene, so I could ask for like our analysis help again once that's all done. And then, yeah, and then I'm gonna start writing the manuscript. As we said yesterday, it's gonna be pretty similar to like the previous ones. So hopefully that should be done pretty quickly. Yeah, my updates are very brief. I don't have many things to show you, but that's it for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. Thank you. Okay, welcome. Haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, it's been a while. Oh
Give
yeah,
Update. Yeah.
yes, I'm working as an onco doctor, and I'm doing observership in my home medical school. So I'm learning something in there, and in hyperprogression project, almost I lost uh, in there, but Dr. Arnie and I and Eugene tried to start again. So maybe I didn't ask to Grace, but maybe she and Shauna will help us. And I will do my best until before I start my residency. And if I start my residency, I will, I will I will give all the things to Dr. Arnie or anybody who can finish it. Yes. Okay. Actually, I don't have actual updates about the manuscript, and I will I will I will do update until next week. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Eugene will help me to polish the data in multivariate and data, and Dr. Arnie will do again, and we will write the discussion almost done about the result and introduction, and so we have to finish discussion. So we will separate part and we'll write. Yes. Thank you.
How many months has been since you left?
Almost 4 months.
4 months?
Yeah,
Wow. A lot of time.
yeah, a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that has to be published in timely manner because I know other groups are doing similar things.
Yes, yes.
And we've already presented. So where did you publish your abstract?
At AACR and ASCO. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So once it's published by abstract, people know what
Yeah.
we're doing. So, the ideal sequence would be by the time you get the poster published is when you actually submit to the journal because it takes time to go through the process of editing and revision and all that. So with you and Eugene and Arnie, I really want you to, before you start your work, just really focus on getting it out there. I do think So it's one thing to do a experimental laboratory research, but
Yes.
another to really look at patient data, and get what you've learned out there in the medical literature, so that people will be up to date on what actually is happening. And um, so think of it as a duty.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll see the updates on weekly basis, and have the final draft ready before you start the residency.
Okay. Yes. Not yet. Very straight data is not published in abstract. So yes, not yet.
So very strat data, is that the ASCO?
No, no, no. I didn't add that data because you said that it is too much data, so I can separate the data. Yeah, I sent all the epidemiology and other data, and I didn't edit the very straight. You said that I can add very straight data and only the very straight relationship between mm, hyperprogression. I can publish one abstract more. So you said that don't add that data to ASCO. Yes.
Oh, so no one published the very strat data yet?
Mm, until until 2 months ago. Yeah, I'm not sure now, but maybe yes. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So the very strat data, I think I think we were getting more, so a little bit
Yes.
more, right? And then try to have larger N. And
Yes.
yeah, but I think that should also be part of your paper, right? It's already
Of course. Yeah.
analyzed. So
Yeah.
so so I think the next, so either Eugene or Arnie can work on the very straight data for the SITC. So get as much very straight data with larger N, and get abstract ready for the SITC, SITC. And hopefully around that time we can get the paper actually published. If there's an embargo.
Doc, can I repeat? So very start data for the CC and the abstract for the SITC. Am I right?
So very straight data showing association with hyperprogression incidents should be prepared for an abstract for SITC. SITC is SITC. But regardless, the full very straight data should be part of the manuscript Yuno is writing. And what we do is, if the paper is already accepted, we tell the journal that the abstract will be presented at such meeting on this day. Then they will make their online publication available on the exact same day. So it's embargo. But
Uh,
you know, any questions?
No. Yeah. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Me too. Yes.
I have another question, Doc. For the SITC, for the abstract that the very start, it will be like different from the hyperprogression that I made, or we combine it?
I don't know what you made.
The hyperprogressions for the RESIS 101 that I made with Zuni, the abstract is also, you suggested to submit it in SITC for CC. It will be like different abstracts or like make it the same?
I would say very strat. So So the data you made is the same data that used. What you and Junie did is to confirm the resist. So all the variables should be the same. Very straight data. We were trying to get more very straight data for the same group. So make sure you have the updated version. And then I think the SITC abstract for the resist has two different aspects. One is using different algorithms, different definitions. And then the other is very strat, because we published on the other variables, but we haven't published or presented very strat data yet. So it will be two different abstracts.
Thank you, Doctor. I already get Yunho update for his work. It's already almost done, just the discussion part, and we will work on it. I also asked Zuni for helping us with this hyper progressions paper, because I believe like it's really connected with our own project, and she will be really happy with do it also. I will put an update after this about our project after Yunho.
Yeah, I agree. Junie should be part of this project as well. It's the same hyper progression. So this paper is, so you're doing a different abstract, but the impact of different definition should be part of this paper. So think about this as a collaboration project. So it will be everything you did, Arnie and Junie, should be included in this paper. All the algorithms and everything should be all analyzed and discussed. So it's sort of like an update to Yuno's paper.
Sure, we'll add it.
Okay. Junie, good to see you. Do you have any updates?
Arnie will update in detail. We have just updates that we have finalized the table, and now we will start writing the abstract for the SITC.
So did you guys do the analysis?
So Minjong helped us in doing the analysis. She made the formulas, and then we added the values, and the analysis is done now.
So you just have, so would you have it ready to show me next, not this meeting or next meeting?
No, I can show it now after this. After like I feel like after Yunho finish updated, I will show the table and also all the quantity of the samples. I already make the table and the flow chart.
Okay, you know anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you have good team now.
I asked Yunho and Zuni must come to this meeting today because to update I need both of them to come. So I say you need come today.
Yeah. Good idea. So yeah, Arnie, show me the data.
Yeah. I'm opening from the laptop. So I will share my screen first. Wait, Google Drive versus hyperproliferation, share screen. This one. So this is the table that we already, the new one with the NRM. This is all the total sample. I already checked it twice or 3 times for all the table. So basically all NRM data, and with Yunho data, we can put all Yunho data about the characteristic into this table because we have the NRM. And this is the new table of the count. So this is like all the new data that we collect, me and Zuni collect, and this is like the calculations of the ratio. It's the formula is made by Minjong, but I try to assign it to this table and it works perfectly. And I make the calculations. So basically, we have 301 total sample. We have 301 total sample, and the one that we can count the RECIST criteria is 179. With 179, we have stable disease 117, progressive disease 45, and PR 17, partial response. From 301, from the 301 sample, we have 179 with baseline and after baseline, but we only have 140 patients with three timeline. The pre-baseline, baseline, and after treatment is only 140. But we only have 15 patients with the pre-baseline and baseline. So this is the number that we can count, and this is the flowchart that I already make. 301, that immunotherapy hasn't been given 16, no target lesion 9. So we have 276 for the CT scan evaluations. No image data, it means that don't have the after treatment, like, or the baseline 67.
Wait.
And with
You start with who received immunotherapy, and you go through the chart and find out that immunotherapy wasn't given.
Yeah, so basically there's some of the patients that when me and Zuni find it before, actually the immunotherapy hasn't been given at the time we take the baseline. It's like 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later. So it changed the timeline. And after that,
Wait. So
yeah?
so that's not the correct. Immunotherapy was given, but not before the. So there was no baseline. Is that? So it doesn't make sense if you put it like this. Immunotherapy was given, but was the CT scan done after no baseline scan, or because you need a criteria to get 301. If you say criteria is immunotherapy given, then you need to exclude 16. The criteria is you have 3 baseline scan. So it says no imaging data. So after baseline available. So you have to start with somewhere. So I would say immunotherapy, and then 3 baseline, on treatment, 3 scans available. So you can start anywhere. You can start with patients with received immunotherapy. Then you have to exclude 16 if they truly haven't received immunotherapy at any given time point. But if there is a problem with the timing of scan and immunotherapy, that's not immunotherapy has been given. So what I'm saying is you need, no pre-baseline, how many patients? No baseline, how many patients? No on treatment scan, how many patients? So those are excluded. And then you go to, so you look at the presence of the scan, then you can comment on whether there's a target lesion or not. So there's no sequence here. There's no consistency here. So you have to start somewhere. Anybody who received immunotherapy, and then the CT scan available, 3 CT scans available, and then you have to separately no pre-baseline, no baseline, no on treatment. How many patients are there? And then you have to have an evaluable CT scan, and then no target lesion, evaluable CT scan by RECIST criteria, and then you say no target lesion, 9 patients. So you go from top to bottom. You understand? Feasible
I understand.
analysis. I would say evaluable RECIST is a better term, not the feasible imaging.
Okay.
And then
I will.
thrombectomy, other cause. I don't understand what this is.
So other cause is like all the mass is before we find like it's only little like 3 or 4 imaging where the picture is like, because it's progressed a lot. So the pictures on the after treatment or the next CT scan is like it's full of the lobe. So there's no exact number how many millimeter this growth, because it's already full to the lung. So because we cannot count it, that's why me and Zuni decide to exclude it. Like the lesions like makes the lungs obliterate. There's no exact number because we if we like even like if we open the CT, it's really hard to define the exact millimeter or like the size of the mass.
So there's a term. So you have to say unable to measure, or you could say target lesion not measurable, or
Oh, okay.
so no target lesion. So target lesion means it's a measurable lesion. If it's not measurable, like it's a thickened pleura, if it's a bone lesion that's just like a little bit hazy, or as long as it's full of GGOs, it's not measurable. If it's just a pleural effusion, it's not measurable. So if it's not measurable, it's not target, then you have non-target lesion. Okay, if you don't know what's a whole lung is gone, if you don't know what's atelectasis, if you don't know what consolidation, what is tumor, you can't measure the tumor, then it's non-measurable, therefore it's non-target lesion. So you have to say something, not just say other cause, and you have no idea what it is. So you have to find the right category for each. Post lobectomy is 11. So what does that mean? Post lobectomy for 11 patients.
So there is like for the after treatment, there is like some patient already did the post lobectomy. So it's really like first the change of the target lesions to difference, or the target lesion is gone. As an example, the first target lesion, we put it in the right upper lobe, and the right, because it's too big and it's got a lobectomy for the right upper lobe. After that, the target lesion is gone for the in the baseline one. So that's why we cannot measure the target lesion in the baseline because it's got lobectomy, it's gone, and we cannot put it 0 right in the after treatment. But yeah, any advice?
I don't understand what you said. So patient underwent lobectomy after what, on this 3 scans or history of lobectomy?
As an example like this, I will try to repeat my explanations again. So in the baseline, we put the target lesion in the right upper lobe, right? The target lesion in the right upper lobe. But because it's growing, when it's doing the treatment, he got lobectomy for the right upper lobe. So in the after treatments, or like after immunotherapy, like after 3 months CT scan that we try to see, the target lesion is gone. The target lesion that we choose in the baseline treatment is gone because it's being taken by the lobectomy. So in the after treatment, the target lesion becomes 0. That's what I mean.
So 11 patients received lobectomy during immunotherapy?
Yeah, from the 3 months period.
Can you bring up such case? I can't
I need
remember any case, because these are advanced, surgically unresectable, stage 3 or stage 4K patients not amendable for surgery. So that's why they got immunotherapy in the first place. I can't imagine 11 patients getting lobectomy.
we will try to find. Okay, let's new table first. Let's try like this one. I will try to open the races. Oh no, this not this one. Number 3. I will open the epic if you want. So basically, like this one, this is like in the March 15, 2017, left upper lobe lesion is 50 and left perihyromus 86. But in the next one, we check it again, left upper lobe lesion lobectomy and left perihyromus is 85. But there is increase in soft tissue nodularity. But if we count the RECIST criteria, it's like two different. That's what I mean, like as an example of the case. But if you want me, I can open the epic by the NRM.
Increase of tissue nodularity. So
as another example, also like this, like right posterior medial lobe mass 40. And this one, tumor consolidation, entire right middle lobes, majority of upper and lower lobes. So we cannot count. This one is like unmeasurable in the second case. This is like the one that kind of hard for me, like for us, like to see the exclusion criteria.
Yeah, show me other lobectomy case.
No, this is number 3. Not available. I think we already almost like cleaned the data for the lobectomy one. Oh, as an example, this one, pleural base nodule 58, and in the next one, oh, sorry. Yeah, as the sample, like this one, for this patient, it's only have one that we can take for the RECIST. The pleural base nodule is 58. And in May, because this being lobectomy, like for the pleural base nodule, then yeah, we cannot count these target lesions. It's only one target lesion that we can see at that time.
So that lobectomy was done within between those two scans, baseline and on treatment.
Yeah. There's no many, it's like 11, I think, from the 301 that we try to find.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want me to cross-check it again, I will check it again today. I will open the CT scan again. If you want me like to cross-check it again by the timeline, one by one.
Yeah, so it's most likely to be lung-only disease or within chest disease. Otherwise, you don't do biopsy, lobectomy. It's quite rare. I'm just surprised that you found 11. So they're not evaluable because it's actually same thing with radiation. So many people got radiation too, but radiation is tricky. So you can leave it. But surgery is definitely, with surgery, then you never know the effect of immunotherapy because surgery take you just the lesion's gone. So I think the better wording is concurrent local therapy.
Okay.
So you're not able to accurately assess the effect of immunotherapy alone because there was other therapy applied as well. So that would be the better reason than lobectomy.
Okay. I will change it. I will change the flowchart for the next lab meeting with all the advice you give me for the flow, and I will discuss it with Zuni and Eugene also and the others.
Okay.
And for the
Go ahead.
and also this is like the data that we already can count for others than the exclusion one. Do you think me and Zuni can start for writing for the abstracts? We already checked for the SITC. It's like it's in July, the start of by the end of July for
Yeah,
submitted.
but where's the result?
Yeah. We only count from here. Then I think I will show it for the result next week for all the counts. After the counting, all the Minjong's help for the TGK and TGR calculations.
So you don't have table or graph?
No, I haven't met the graph. Only the exclusions ones. Because before, there's some missing of the data of the number. That's why I need to restart to count again from all 301 missing of the calculations.
300? Can you go back to your total number? Because you have 3 baseline is 140.
Yeah, 140.
So you just need 140.
So for the writing this one, yeah, about 140 we can count it for the 3 baseline. But if only for counting resist criteria, we have 179 because for resist criteria we need the baseline and the after baseline.
But for this paper, you need only 140.
Yeah. For this paper, yeah.
For this paper, yeah. 140 is still a decent number. Yeah, so next time, explain to us what algorithm, you use to derive, what data, and also remember what Minjung did in her meta-analysis paper with using different definition. How does the different groups change, and what definition seems to reflect what's actually happening? Yeah, so focus on that. And so what's the holdup? I mean, you have all the numbers. What do you need to do? You still have missing data from 140?
No, for 140, I think we have all the data for 140.
So
for 140.
Then you can present on 140.
Yeah, for the 140, other than we have it for the resist 140, we have it. Like this is all the data. This one 179, but if you we delete the 2 like the 2 baseline, we have the 140 in here. It's basically the 3 timeline for the 140.
So you do know how to calculate the progression rates?
This is by Minjong. Not by Minjong, like Minjong teach us how to calculate it. So as an example for this one, the stable disease one, we already have it. This is like the how many days of the period analysis. And this is like the growth. This is like the growth of this is the TGK and the experience. This is and the ratio. So actually Minjong helped us with the formula of the table. So if we have the 3 baseline and we put it in this table, like it's already like being set for the calculation because she make the algorithm in here.
So where is the incidence rate?
No, hasn't been.
Doctor, the incidence rate hasn't been calculated yet, I think. So yeah, we'll make sure that we'll make it more presentable, like calculating all the incidents by different definition by next week.
Okay. This has already been 2 weeks. We didn't have that meeting last time.
Yeah.
So I think it's going too slow right now. I think once you guys are done, you guys were done with resist. And then
Yeah.
you should have learned how to calculate instant rate is very easy. It's an easy math. And I don't understand why you guys don't have the number to be presented. So I have high expectations. I definitely want you to learn and to be able to show. I mean, you have numbers, and if I were you, I would be very curious to know what the incident rate is. You have all the numbers, and incident rate is just counting what's above 2, and you still don't have that number. You're not waiting for anything from Minjung, are you?
No. Minjong already helping us and teach us about the calculations.
Okay.
So I think she already helped us enough. After this, like we should work on our paper and our count.
Yeah. So
I will.
so to me, once you are done with actual getting the resist number is the time limiting, because you have to go through every chart. But once you have it and once you know how to calculate, calculating is very easy. It's just, if you know the equation, the Excel spreadsheet will calculate it for you. So the day after you have all the resist criteria, you should have all the instant rates. So it took you 2 weeks and I still don't have the rate. So I'm trying to understand what's the lag or bottleneck here. But I want you to know that once you guys are done laboriously get the data out, then you should, really analyze it and have at least something to present so that you can start writing. And all these things has to be incorporated into the manuscript that is writing. And then really figure out how to incorporate it, what's the discussion and all that. But most of the discussion is rephrasing what Minjung has already written. So this is a project that's in a way that has already been thought out. But the value of this data is in the real world. What is the hyperprogression instant rate, and by different definition, how does that change?
Okay.
So do you understand what my point, Arnie or Junie?
Yeah.
Yes, we got it. Dr. Che, we were just making some changes in the table because there was no MRN and then we have to add characteristics. But from today, we'll calculate the incidence rate, and then hopefully next meeting we'll present the incidence rate and we'll also start writing.
Yeah, so instant rate per each algorithm, but go deeper. Why is it different? And what algorithm overestimates, underestimate, and why? I think Minjung has pretty good discussion about that in her paper. So learn from her paper. It will be a very similar discussion. And how is our own data different from the meta-analysis data? The meta-analysis is the same trend replicated in our data, that this algorithm overpredicts, this algorithm underpredicts. Does the same phenomenon happen in our data set, in real world data set? So those questions has to be addressed in your next presentation. Also, looked at different correlation with other variables such as platelets, PD-L1, and so forth. So you need to do all that with the new RECIST numbers. And then UNO's association was based on one algorithm. So UNO's association can be looked at utilizing different definitions. There you could find a new association where you could see that existing or presumed association may not be found with using different definitions. So the association with other clinical variables has to be looked at using different definitions. So I want all these pieces to be included in your next week presentation. Any questions?
No, I think we are good for now. We'll work on it for next meeting.
Okay. Okay. So same thing. This you know, time sensitive thing. I do think other groups are working on it. So let's try to get this submitted as soon as possible. This is for your own benefit. Okay, any questions from about this project?
No, I think for now we are good. We will make the presentation for the next week. Yeah,
Okay,
and finishing that. Thank you, doctor.
thank you. Okay. Who else is, so everyone in Korea? Oh, Sungmi. You're in Korea? Are you
Hi,
available?
yes, I arrived yesterday.
Wow.
So, I don't have anything to present, unfortunately, sorry, but, I just wanted to be present for this lab meeting, and yeah, so
Thank
I'll,
you
I'll
for
have something
joining.
by next time, yeah.
Yeah. So Sungmi, what is your suggested arrangement to complete your project?
I could be every lab meeting, and just work from home. I don't really have much else to do, and I have like a good computer and everything here, so I'll just work from home, and I'll just keep talking with other lab members for help. Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess when you actually start your residency, are you going to have other person take the lead?
Well, so I go back to US in 21st of June.
Mm.
So that's a month.
Mm.
So I think we'll definitely so I'll be working harder in Korea, but if that doesn't happen, we'll have to work out someone during this month who could take the project.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Eugene also knows a lot about the project, but yeah.
so yeah. So I think so you'll work hard to get everything submitted in 1 month. And if that's not done or whatever needs to be followed up, I think Eugene can take the lead afterwards.
Okay.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do Eugene.
Yes. For me, I'm working on so I have many things to cover. So I put my priority for finishing 2 case reports ongoing,
Mhm.
Curie and Vivian Panu, and I don't finish it yet, but I think I've almost done with discussion part for Curie.
Mm.
But I received feedback from other lab members, and I have
You're echoing.
Oh,
Nice.
is it okay right now? Or
Yeah, I muted Arnie.
okay. So yes. And so do you think can I show you the discussion for Curie's case report?
Yeah.
Yeah, as we changed our target genre as post medicine, I revised pretty a lot. So for introduction, I changed it a little bit, just mentioning, I wrote one paragraph for IMA itself. And I wrote about MRDSA because we're going to talk a lot about MRDSA in our discussion. So I put just another separate paragraph for MRD in introduction. Yes. And I made a case presentation in a different way. I chose to present it in a like chronically because there's no word limitation for this plus medicine. And here I pointed out the result. So as you mentioned in the previous lab meeting, I try to describe every detail results from MRD assay from different assays. So tissue
So Tempest XT assay should be in the parentheses. So you could just put
oh, okay.
tissue NGS revealed. You don't have to write XT. You could just tissue NGS. Tempest, Chicago, Illinois is fine.
Okay. So here I wrote about VUS as well and copy number. So
Yeah,
I remember.
Do you have NGS written out somewhere above? Next generation sequencing, because you need that.
Yeah.
You can't just write NGS.
I checked that. I think.
Because I don't see it above.
Oh, you don't. You're right. I think you're right. Oh, this is first time then I have to write it out.
Yeah. But if you're not using it again, you don't have to put NGS there.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, thank you for Okay. So here I wrote a detailed information regarding his cancer. I wrote copy number, gain and loss information, as well as DNA mismatch repair and over tumor mutation burden.
So I would write NGS revealed copy number gain. I would put a
You mean changing order of
revealed.
information?
So NGS is DNA sequencing.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with mismatch repair protein expression.
Oh.
This has to be a separate sentence.
Okay.
Revealed A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And then you can say DNA mismatch repair protein
expression was
protein MLH1 and MSH6 were expressed.
Got it.
So these are the details. They're wrong, right? So
Right.
you have to be very precise in describing methods. So there's
Okay.
take out the expression of.
Okay, I will revise this part as well. And then also in this part, I try to wrote another essay result like from Guardant.
Right, just you can take that out.
Take this out. Because I remember that you said that you want every detail information regarding his tumor. So
Tumor assay was obtained using circulating tumor DNA next generation sequencing. And that platform was used using Guardant Health platform.
okay.
So anything about specific company, it has to go into the parentheses.
Okay. I will revise it later. Okay. Then so right after the information about his tumor, I wrote about patient's treatment journey. So I summarize it as like he underwent 13 cycles of chemo and clinical trials. And here at the very last part, I mentioned the effect of lenvatinib. As you commented on, I found about his chart and revised it as like after 3 weeks from starting lenvatinib, he endorsed improvement in his breathing, and his oxygen requirement went down from deciliters to 4 liters. So I made it more.
So he endorsed improvement, sound more like a HPI. You could say
Oh.
his oxygenation, his oxygen requirement improved.
Okay. I'll just take this part.
Or yeah, oxygen, or you can say he was less short of breath with his
Yeah.
oxygen requirement coming down from this to that, something like that.
Okay. Yes. After that, I wrote about the how treatment decision regarding transplantation was made, and both was considered, and yeah, here are pretty much same with the previous one, but here.
So go up the patient. Right there after 4 months. So you can use he because it's a man, or you can
Okay.
use the patient because we're talking about the patient.
Okay.
So see it's the patient without the the. Or you could do he or the patient. You have to be consistent. If you want to just use he, you can use he consistently. You want to use the patient, then you have to be the patient consistently.
Okay. I'll make the change as well.
During ICU stay, during the ICU stay, or see, the Grammarly is useful. If I don't want to see any red underline
Oh
because
yeah.
it has to be changed.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So again, every presentation has to be publication quality. I don't want to see any grammar errors or typos. I want other co-authors to read it, revise it before you present. Okay. That we don't have to go through this. But the grammar things are important. Like if you see too many grammar errors, you start to doubt the scientific integrity, like the author, thorough enough. So I want to emphasize that every time. And this is just a draft is no excuse, because the rule is it has to be publication quality for you to present at the at our lab meeting. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
So next. So after he got transplantation, I added a little bit more detail about his tumor. So immunohistochemical staining demonstrated like the marker. I added that part, and for so and I found that another Tempest result at this time point. So I wrote about that as well. They detected RPL5 mutation with this amount of allele frequency. And at that time point, tumor mutation burden was different from the diagnosis time point. So I wrote about that as well. And interestingly, other like VUS and mismatched protein expressions and RNA analysis were identical with the biopsy results. So I wrote that too. Do you think it's worthy to be mentioned here?
I think it's fine.
Okay.
So RP L5.
RPL5, yeah.
Is that a functional? It's a
It was,
also-
yeah, it was detected as a functional mutation, somatic loss of function, but it never appeared again afterwards.
so it um so I know we talked about the gardens a serial garden change,
Mm-hmm.
but this is a serial tempest change. And
Right.
and you say what's identical, what's not identical. I think it has to be in a supplemental table.
Mm-hmm.
Tempest at diagnosis, tempest at surgery, NGS, functional, VUS, IHC for MMR, RNA, seq could be all
Or
rows.
yeah.
Yeah, so people, and then you can put supplemental table number what?
Okay. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I can make it more presentable, the table, because it here in download I collected all the
Yeah,
data, but I cannot come up with nice way to put it into a nice table format yet. But I will make it more. Yeah, I'll try to make it as a supplementary table, including all the RNA and protein and HRD score, and maybe I can leave HRD score, but leave out. Yeah.
yeah, HRD score is fine. You can still
Okay.
leave it there.
Okay. Yeah, I try to collect all the things. Yeah, with help of Arnie. Yeah. So I'll make it into a table, supplementary table. And after that, I wrote about post-operative his course, and it's pretty similar to the previous version. And so the last part is about his MRD assay post-operatively. So see, I wrote like this: ctDNA and just initially detected mutations in two functional mutation gene, but it disappeared pre-transplantation and reappeared after transplantation. I wrote about this result. And also, although it was VUS, but I mentioned about MEPK3 as well, which is detected consistently. And also new synonymous alteration, I mentioned it as well.
So this is all from Guardant.
All from Guardant post-operatively. Pre-operative, post-operative. Yeah, all from Guardant.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So so can you go up to the abstract?
Abstract. Abstract has not yet been completed. But I definitely remember that you want to mention that MRD results in abstract as well. So
Yeah, so if you remember my last comment about this project, tissue-based MRD assay remain non-detectable. So we have to make that a point. But looking at the Guardant, so what was my conclusion, Eugene, about the Guardant being detected? What does that really mean?
as far as I remember, tissue validation is important. And
Show me the Guardant table.
just give me a second. garden table is here. And I think this is the latest. This one. Can you see it?
So that's December latest.
Sorry. March. March is the latest.
Okay. So what we said last time was that this all 4 mutations were never found in Tempest, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So in the discussion, you know, that's important. Yeah.
So
But-
yeah, actually I try to write reflecting all your comments, the discussion part. Can you have a look at that part? So it starts from here. Surveillance. I know it should be improved, but
Well, we don't have several, 2 different,
two. Okay, only two.
it's only 2.
Okay. I think I need to elaborate more on the two.
Of course.
essay, right? Okay.
Yeah, you can't just say tissue is important.
Okay.
Again, Garden Signatera are all
In the parentheses.
company name or the product name. So it has to be, we're going to always look, say tissue-based MRDSA,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the parentheses you can put Signatera. You can put blood ctDNA assay, and in the parentheses put Guardant 360 as the product name. You don't
Yeah.
have to repeat it all the time. You just say one.
Okay. Okay, I'll make it more, briefly.
So the question is, the clonal hematopoiesis,
Mm-hmm.
did you see, I know TP53 is there,
Right.
but did you see NRAS mutation as common?
Yeah, it's listed in the article. Although it's not the most frequent one, but it was in the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? Because we had 4 in the
Right. But I didn't find any other, the Curie's mutation in the list. Only
So
two.
you searched all the literature?
I only searched 3, but I can look it up more. Yeah. So you want me to confirm others are not in the list? Is that correct?
Yeah, because you have to say 2, at least, at least 2 were of those mutations were
Oh, at least 2 were-
described in the literature as a possible, you can say clonal hematopoiesis of in unknown significance, or we call it CHIP, CHIP.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dr. Shea, I found about CHIP and it says like it needs, so if some mutation needs to be called CHIP, it needs to be like the VAF of that mutation should be over 2%. That's the definition that I found in the articles, but here our patient, the VAF of all mutations found in the garden was less than 1%. So I didn't use the CHIP, the word itself.
They put 2%.
Yeah, that's the definition I saw in the article. Isn't it correct? But maybe I can look it up more.
So there are, not only chip, but there are other words.
Okay.
But I guess clonal hematopoiesis is what you're gonna use here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I will make it more, make improvement here. So trying to find another.
Yeah. So if you found it, say you found it. If you
Okay.
didn't find it, say you didn't find it.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
so it may not be chip. You could say or other causes. So such as undetected malignancy or benign tumors. And I think I did mention non-malignant causes such as aortic aneurysm or colon polyps. They secrete APC mutations, things like that.
Mhm.
Although Curie himself underwent rigorous cancer screening before transplant workup,
Mm,
there could be something that's non-detected, not coming from lung cancer. So talk about the third possible.
possible sources for
Yeah.
for
Cite those. Yeah.
But yeah, before moving on, Dr. Shi, can I ask the meaning, like the true meaning of this one paragraph? So I think I didn't make it clear enough. So maybe can I put it like, okay, so for this paragraph, I'm gonna talk about the possible sources for his garden mutation. Do you think that's okay for writing one paragraph for that like topic?
So I would say, you have to describe what you saw. There was a discrepancy between tissue-based MRD assay
Yeah.
and not blood-based MRD assay.
Mm-hmm.
The discrepancy we saw was that none of the blood-based MRD assay mutations were found in tissue.
And we're trying to explain, yeah.
And obviously tissue-based MRD assay remained non-detectable while blood-based MRD assay remained persistently positive.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say that's what we saw. And there are several explanations for this. This could be due to chip. This could be due to non-malignant causes other than chip or lung cancer. And then you say, therefore, we could argue that tissue-based assay maybe more carries more of a clinical significance in this case.
That could be
or something like that. That's how I would
you would work it or
write it.
okay.
Not say tissue is important or something.
Yeah,
why
and too raw.
Yeah.
Too premature. Yeah. Okay, then first, yeah, okay. And for the second paragraph, as you recommended, I try to cover the importance of allele frequencies, the meaning of allele frequencies. So I found about Charles Swinton article, and I found that, as you mentioned, like a mean clonal plasma VAF of 0.1% corresponds to the primary tumor burden of 10 square centimeter. And I try to interpret our results with this kind of assumption.
Mm-hmm.
So considering the tumor spread for our patient, tumor spread bilaterally, filling almost all of his lung. We assume that the plasma VAF mutations. I'm sorry, I think it doesn't make it's not understandable enough, but are you still agreeing with me that I can write about VAF for one paragraph, or do you want it to be more succinct?
Allele frequency of clones.
I think the key point is that the VAF of mutations from GARDENT results remains less than 0.5% pre and postoperatively. So taken together, I think our point is these mutations do not stem from patient's original tumor itself, but rather from other sources that we mentioned earlier. However, it still remains unclear where the clones have evolved. So I made a conclusion like this: further surveillance is required to reveal the meaning of the observed dynamic genomic alterations.
Where are the clones? Not excluding the presence. It just doesn't read well.
Okay.
So what was well, I guess this is allele frequency versus Signatera is actually absolute concentration, right? Do you have a Signatera graph?
A Signatera graph. Here.
Yeah, it's just all been negative, but okay. So yeah, their y-axis is the concentration, MTM
Per milliliter.
plasma.
Mean tumor molecules. Yeah.
Yeah. Allele frequency of clones are also valuable. So again, starting with that sentence, I think the readers was like, why all of a sudden talk about allele frequency?
Oh.
So I would always start with what's our burning question. The burning question is, why is tissue-based and blood-based MRD different? So we brought up an idea that GARDENT may not be coming from lung cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next question for the second paragraph is, the question is really, is there any supporting evidence to say that the GARDENT may not be coming from lung cancer? Understanding the biology of VAF may be the clue. So what we know is that VAF correlates with the actual tumor burden, and we would because we have pre-GARDENT, that we just don't have pre-Signatera. I wish we had one.
Yes.
But we didn't. But the GARDENT has pre-surgery GARDENT.
Right.
If the GARDENT truly predicts the tumor burden, the pre-surgery GARDENT should have a lot higher VAF.
True.
And then the post, although detectable, the post should have a lot lower VAF. And that's based on the Swanton's observation.
Right.
However, that's not what we saw. We saw a consistently same low rate, which makes us think that he may have CHIP or something else. So he has received different chemotherapies. And we do know exposure to systemic chemotherapy increased the risk of CHIP or CH. So it all fits the theory of VAF reflecting tumor burden, and then VAF can come with patient with prior history of chemotherapy.
Got it.
So the way so your writing should also follow the exact logic that I'm telling you.
Right. It wasn't logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, okay. And the last point I want to address was I want to nicely connect the low, low VAF detected in our patients could reflect the like immune system's role, the host protective role. So immunoediting. So this last paragraph was about immunoediting itself.
So about the Japan circulate, they said the 7 patients all relapsed.
They said some are relapsed, but some are they said they cannot tell exact number, but they definitely replied that some are relapsed, but some were still remain MRD negative, which was kind of confusing to me because in the data there was patients who were MRD negative at 24 weeks postoperatively. But in the email, they told us like some were MRD negative. So that's a little bit confusing.
Well, can you ask them just directly that we just care about that exact 7 patient?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I can ask again about that. Yeah. Although I feel like I made it pretty clear that I really want to know about the prognosis of 7 patients, but I think they were, yeah.
Yeah, just ask it more directly. Did all 7 patients relapse, or did some did not relapse, or did some got censored and you don't have the data? I want to know what happened to exactly 7 patients, and I want is the answer that all patients relapsed, so that they are excluded in the later analysis.
Okay.
So just have them answer yes or no, or we don't know. So,
Okay. Okay.
but anyway, I don't
yeah.
have. So number one, you can have false positive, which is super rare. Okay, if it's positive, it's usually positive. But anyway, I don't know. So I think like the last paragraph is a good argument in its sort of imagination. But I want a real world evidence to back this up. I was hoping that Japan Circulate could be one of it. But so far, I think Seungmi knows it well. She reviewed all the literature. But what Seungmi found out was that if you are MRD positive, almost all of them will at some point relapse. Maybe it's just they're censored, they're not have relapsed yet. So MRD positive and just with immunoediting and remain no cancer for lifelong. I don't have that kind of, or MRD positive and then it clears by itself and then there's no recurrence. I haven't seen that data yet.
Understandably, yeah.
I don't know. Seungmi, Arnie, Eugene, or Juhee, anyone came across that data? No?
As of now, no. I think maybe I
Right.
can search more.
So maybe look for that type of data. I mean, if there isn't, then this is just a hypothetical argument with no backing up supporting evidence. But it's okay, because discussion can be, what if this is happening and we know that cancer editing is something that actually happens. So you can still discuss it. It's okay. Host protective role of immune system. Is this a word you found from somewhere, or?
Found in that immunoediting journal.
Host protective role of immune system may reflect MRD of low levels of MRD of low levels of VAF doesn't read well. So lower level of minimal residual disease.
Yeah.
Low level, yeah, that's easy. We know that level is measured by VAF.
So here, interestingly, I cited the immunoediting article hypothesized both innate and adaptive immune systems contribute to detecting the tumor cells and destroying them before they become clinically apparent. So we postulate that the detected MRD without overt cancer can be an indicator that our immunity is suppressing cancer from growing. And I cited the Japanese circulate ASCO presentation here. So post-surgical ctDNA based MRD was assessed among CRC patients, and among 93 patients who showed positive ctDNA at 4 weeks post-operatively and not received adjuvant chemotherapy, ctDNA clearance at 12 weeks post-operative was observed in 7 patients. Maybe I can sustain, yeah. I was like, it's a like conversion of ctDNA clearance. So they were initially ctDNA positive at 4 weeks post-operatively, even without receiving adjuvant chemo, but
I'm looking at the last sentence.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Residual tumor cells. We hypothesize that the immune system sustains the residual tumor cells in a dormant state, given no evidence. I think there may be we hypothesis that immune editing may be
play a major role, or I will come up with
come up with something that there's
more
still a tumor that's shedding DNA, but still they're not clinical or not becoming a problem or something. Yeah, maybe a better word. So you can still discuss that. So so how I would phrase the last paragraph is that, because the logic is they're both tissue blood different. Why are they different? Number one, they may not be coming from tumor. They might not be coming from tumor. then but how do you know? Number one, if they're coming from tumor, their BAF should be very different pre and post surgery. Number two, they received chemo, so they're prone to coming from CHIP, and then the CHIP, these mutations are reported, and these mutations are actually found in the Guardant and not in Tempus.
Okay.
Not in Tempus, and the biggest, and not in Tempus, and these are none of those mutations are validated in the tissue Tempus, which makes us think this is likely not coming from tissue. And these are like very comprehensive NGS. These are not hotspot assays. So finding something overlapping is important, but none of the mutations were overlapping. Even the TP50 actual variant was different. So that's a number two supporting evidence. Number three is even if it's coming from lung cancer, well, number three is let's say so it's saying and then number four is that, you know, other than CHIP, there may be other causes, like, you know, aortic aneurysm or other stuff. Number four is that well, let's even if we well, not even if, let's say if, so, you know, we think it's likely not coming from lung cancer, Guardant.
Yes.
However, if it is coming from lung cancer, then how is it that it's still positive and we don't see any evidence of recurrence? You could argue, well, first you said there's a lag time. It might recur soon if it is lung cancer. But then you could also argue that immune editing might still play a role. That's why it's still low level and it's not showing regression. So last paragraph is sort of like, you know, we're arguing that it's not coming from lung, but then even if it's coming, but if we assume it's coming from lung, then why is it still persistent and why it's not changed? So it's asking different questions. So you can't really say it's number 1 to 3.
Got it.
So think about the logic. Logic is the most important thing here.
True. Yeah. Okay, I think I can work on it more. But my last question is that so as of now, we've discussed a lot about MRDSA discrepancies for like this majority of discussion. But I added of course, I try to discuss about the IMA itself, like its prognosis in terms of a transplantation, but still majority of amount is spent on the MRDSA. Do you think it's fair?
I think it's fine. I think the title has to be MRD.
Okay. Yeah, MRD is still there in the title. So, okay.
Yeah. So that's what's unique. There are case reports of bilateral lung and lung cancer. There are case reports. So this is unique because we're almost spending half of our discussion in MRD.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I can improve it more.
Anything else?
I have like Vivian Panu's case as well, but I think I will show it to you next time. Make it more presentable after making more presentable.
Are you almost done with Vivian Panu?
Vivian Panu. Yeah, do you think it's presentable as of now? Also, Dr. Shi, if you're okay with you, if it's okay with you, can I show you Vivian Panu's as well? Okay.
You need to move it forward.
True, that's true. Oh yeah, you can. Juhi will present about the Vivian Panu's case.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Jui, let's take a bathroom break.
Okay, sounds good.
10 minutes. Yeah.
The discussion part is not completed yet. We're still working on it. But most of it is completed, in my opinion. Introduction has been done. Case presentation has been finished. And Arnie was amazing enough to work on the figures. So you see the CT scans from before and after treatment. Descriptions are below. So that's
So
done.
before and after.
Before Nivo IPI, after Nivo IPI, before TEMC was added on, and after TEMC was added on.
Okay, can I look at it?
Mhm.
So
So we were gonna add, I guess the size, if you thought that was okay, like where it's located, where the mass is located, and the size, so that it's easier to compare, was my opinion.
okay, so A is
Before Nivo IPI. Then B is after Nivo IPI, 1 month. Uh, C is before TEMC was added on. D is after TEMC was added on.
uh
Do you want us to use like arrows or something so that they can actually know what they're supposed to be looking at?
for the second figure, what was there a radiation?
Radiation,
Uh-huh.
like the therapy.
Uh-huh.
Let me go back.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Why? Why would you say that?
Can you go down to the CT?
Yeah.
So look how C and D, there is the fibrosis happening in this linear fashion.
Oh. Oh. So after this.
So Eugene, can you go to her chart and go to her radiation history?
Yeah, okay. I'm on my way to there. But as far as I remember, she got radiated at her first diagnosis and her initial treatment.
Yeah, but I see the fibrosis. Okay.
Yeah, go to PET.
And then that's the PET scan. And that's
Oh,
before
show me what it is.
before and after TEMZ add-on.
TMC add-on. Okay. So go up. I would say the first, well, in the ABCD, the right side figure,
Yeah.
is not adding much information.
Okay.
So after Nivo Ipi, it looks like there's a new lesion in the posterior pleural.
Yeah.
But why are we trying to show that?
That's a good point.
My point is, why did you pick the second picture?
We just picked the biggest lesion, honestly. I think we will go over the scans. Or Arnie, you can say something if you want to.
So when we try to find the difference between the lesions and doing the RECIST criteria, basically for the second picture, that's the biggest mass she has, but there's no many difference through all the process of the treatment. The one that changing is in the left lower lobe one, in the left picture, and also the hepatic mass. That's the one that have biggest change. So can we put the hepatic lesion then to change the right one, if you agree?
Well, that was the whole point. The figure has to reflect the biggest change.
Wow. Then if that's the reason, if that's the case, then I will change all the right figure from the mass in the healer to the hepatic one, because the one have the biggest change is the hepatic one and the left lower mass.
So show me the CT again. So I think one representative lesion in the lung, you can leave the left figure and then switch the second figure to the liver lesion. But you can still go to the PET scan. So here you have I think A and B, there's a change in the lung lesion. And then there's a change in, the thing is, the esophagus is right. And I wonder if that's coming from radiation causing esophagitis. So Eugene, did you see any radiation record?
Yeah, I found it. You want to share the screen? Share my screen?
Yeah, share your screen, please.
Okay. So here it says it shows us her radiation treatment history.
So there is mediastinum, hilum, and
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe it makes her esophagus like a little bit inflamed. Or,
yeah.
yeah.
So radiation is totally omitted in the the patient history.
In our case report as of now, you're
Yeah.
saying that.
So that is just I mean,
Yeah, we should
we
definitely
should definitely add radiation history. And what's radiated should really not be the focus of our discuss or imaging or discussion, because people will argue, well, that shrink because of radiation, not because of nivo AP, not because of temsirolimus. You can easily argue that. So you should not include any image that was radiated.
Mm,
I mean, this is common sense.
yeah.
I'm teaching you all this, but this is and I'm just surprised that you guys didn't write radiation in the story. You have to look at the chart and really do justice. You know, what did patient actually get? Of course, radiation is not the focus of our story. That doesn't mean we should not write it. We should write everything that happened to the patient and was given concurrently with immunotherapy, right? So,
Got it.
oh,
Yeah.
so is this the right timeline, Eugene? Is this June 2021?
Mhm.
Is that while patient was getting Nivo EP
Um,
or Arnie? Do you know?
so her Nivo EP started. Yes, it's overlapping. The treatment started at May 28th. So
Okay.
oh, actually, she got Nivo EP 2 days after finishing radiation on her mediastinum and hilum.
Hmm.
Mhm. If you compare the date here.
Okay. That's almost concurrent.
Yeah.
Anyway, you look at CT scan, you know patient received radiation. You look at the esophagus, you know patient got the radiation. Why is it inflamed?
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is so what I'm telling you guys, this is all clinical knowledge,
Right.
a common sense. I'm glad you guys are presenting it. Otherwise, I would have overlooked at it. My fault as well. But yeah, liver wasn't radiated, so you can replace the second CT scan figure with liver, and even the PET you should take out the second figure because it was a radiated region and the esophagus is bright.
Mm,
That's really not the focus of our story. You can still use the lung lesion for PET. Perhaps you can use liver PET to show if the activity is a lot less in the liver, then you can still use that PET figure for
Yeah.
liver lesion for PET. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I think the liver is a better idea because from the CT and the PET, liver have like showing more decreased activity.
Yeah.
But
So I still don't get why you didn't pick liver in the first place. Okay, move on.
Then we did the uh racist. Wait, I have to
Oh,
show.
sorry. Yeah, so yeah.
Mm,
Can you share your screen?
Yep. This is a timeline. Actually, Arnie, you can explain.
So for the graphic, we make for the tumor burden in the RECIST criteria and the thyroglobulin level, we make two graphics. The blue one is the tumor burden and the orange one is the thyroglobulin. We put the months under it and put the drugs in the above.
So in the graph, you need explanation. Tumor burden per RECIST. I put risk because it's measured by the RECIST criteria. Tumor burden by RECIST y-axis, TG level. I would put thyroglobulin level.
Okay.
And then you need y-axis. You didn't describe what y-axis is in the graph. So you don't have to write that in the figure legend. I think labeling what's x-axis, y-axis should be part of the graph, the figure itself.
Okay.
And then for the figure legend, you can write, the acronyms and further explanation.
Okay. I will just edit the name. Also,
go up. Show me the figure. So I want to see tumor burden after nivo-ipi goes down and then goes up. Nivo-ipi cabo, nivo-ipi. So did you say, in your text, did you say the patient was not able to tolerate cabo? Okay.
yes, you hear right it.
And then temsirolimus tumor burden goes down, TG level went down. Nivo-ipi, the TG level still went up. Well, I guess maybe it was going down, but we don't know. Okay. Go down. Second figure.
Okay, so this is for the second figure, we want to make about the Signatera and the Gordon. So if we
Again,
make like
x-axis and y-axis are not correct. What are you measuring here? You're measuring tissue-based MRD ctDNA, right?
yeah.
So that has to be the x-axis. Hey, write it somewhere else. Show me the graph.
Yeah.
So, and then time of blood draw. You don't explain from what. You need to provide a reference point. From the initiation of what? What is 1 month from what?
Next month from diagnosis.
So it is, you don't have to say blood draw. You know the plasma concentration by blood draw. So you don't have to explain that you did blood draw there. It's just a time from diagnosis.
Okay.
So just try to be very, precise in all the wording, like x-axis, y-axis.
Okay. About the B.
Same thing, MTM. So in the figure legend, you have to write what MTM means. Also, this is what concentration. It's the ctDNA concentration, right? Circulating tumor DNA concentration. That's more important than the unit itself. You know what I mean? Unit is
Okay.
unit. You put it in the parenthesis, but you have to explain what is it? It's a concentration of what circulating tumor DNA. Do you understand?
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Also about this figure, about we make the Signatera as like from the example. So the graphic, and we put a table to say the number. But it looks so small if we make 2 graphic and 1 table in one space. Do you think is it okay if we put the number to the graphic, or you still like prefer like this kind of table? Because
So
if we put the
this panel, it's not wait, how do I put it?
I mean, the other options that we put, like in every dot, we put the number like 1 month, 2, 3, 4, 121 in the second dot, 37.14. So we can delete the table, and the Signatera and the garden have like bigger picture.
So this is how I would do it. This table in the middle goes as a supplemental table.
Okay.
And you're gonna have same values for different mutation, different clone, different VAFs at different time points. That will go as a similar supplemental table. Okay. And this garden figure will go, I would say, will be the figure B. Okay, figure B.
Okay.
And I want, so here, there's a garden number, which is which is 5.3, 25, 7.5. So that number, so could be the y-axis on the right side of the graph B. So let's plan. So I want
do you
the
mean
garden number to, I want the garden VAF to be the y-axis so that you can put it in the same graph as the graph on the left
Signatera?
side.
Okay.
So,
I think
because this graph doesn't have when nivo-ipi was given, so make a twin graph, okay? Y-axis will be the garden left side, right side will, well, the left side could be the Signatera, right side could be garden. And then so try to make a twin, scale should be the same. Do it. So 1, 2, 3 in all same size. Graph 1, 2, 3. 3 is the garden clonal color figure. 1, 2, 3. And then the second graph should also have the similar note for when different therapy was given. I think that's more intuitive.
Okay, so basically, it will be like the same like the first graph, just like the different y-axis, one Signatera and Guardan, but for the month and like the treatment, it will be same for the x-axis, right? Okay. Okay, I
I
will
mean,
do that.
ideally, the 4 graphs should be in one. 4 lines should be in one graph, ideally. But that might make it too crowded. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts? I would put
If
4 maybe too much, but you can put different colors and you can do it. I think if you make it in a different color and
I
different
can make
units.
it, but the y-axis, there's like 2 options. I will just say it. So the y-axis will have 4 y-axis only, or you only want keep like 2 y-axis. So we can make it. I mean, we can make that kind of stuff, but because the y-axis will be like showing the number of the durations, right, for the y-axis. So you want like 4 y-axis or only 2 y-axis?
That's 2 4 y-axis. I think that's people would want to see the trend. How well maybe. I mean, I'm just thinking. I'm maybe it's too crowded to have 4.
I will try to make it first because it's not really hard for make it, and we will show it in the next lab meeting, and you can choose. I think it's better for.
Yeah, let's choose.
Okay, so I will make 4 y-axis. Also, the other one like just two
Yeah,
statistics.
yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Let's back to Juhi.
I think that's about it, though. We just wanted to talk to you about the graphs.
Okay.
Yeah, discussion, we'll get back to you next week because we're still
Okay.
working on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Or do you want? You think you have something to add? Eugene, you're on.
So
Dr. Say, yeah.
I'm afraid that Vivian may have few months left to live. I think her disease is exploding right now. So yeah, I'm afraid that this publication to be done, you know. Yeah, I want. Well, I guess. I guess her, if she dies, then we have to say, how she died and all that. Most likely, I don't think it. So it's better to submit it when she's still doing well. I think she is going back to where she was, very symptomatic. We don't have scan to prove it yet. She's getting scanned this Thursday. Okay. So this is why we can't wait. We're, you know, and whatever you can do to just submit it. I mean, like changing graph should not take a week, right? So I know we are having weekly lab meetings. This is for us to learn, but if you have anything that you want me to have input, you can show it to me anytime. After during my clinic, after my clinic, I'm always responsive. So do what you can to move things forward because I just worry that she will crash very soon. And we'll have to probably update that. We don't want to update. There's too many information here already. But I just worry, just like Lois Harris. I think I worry this because I know this disease is horrible. This disease, when it responds, it's great, but when it stops responding, then usually it's just matter of few weeks. that the disease will take over her body. So my hope is that's not the case. But I think, you know, she wants to see her um, paper published. I think it will be a good gift for her before she dies, if she dies soon. So I've seen too many of these patients. I do think giving her, like, she was on Nivo AP for like a year, right? So, and then she was on temsirolimus for like a half a year. And giving her time to really enjoy, time to be with her daughters and going to their graduations. We gave her life back with good therapy. So I think those few months or a year or two is such a valuable time. But still it's sad, and you know, we would rather publish it when she's still alive and well. So I just want to, you know, this, like, this medical research is like, it's not something you write to pat your CV. This is like, you want, if you're committed, you have to be committed to the timeline. And there's so many things involved. Now, when you work with patients, it's a whole different story. When you work with clinical trials and people are dying, being on the waiting list, there's, you know, it's so the research becomes a real thing. I want you to understand that this is not some you know, for your own learning. Okay, I'll do it. But this is something that's really important for each person. Yeah, I just feel really sorry for her as she is now becoming very, very symptomatic. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, we'll try to wrap up this case report as soon as possible. And I'm thinking of showing you the discussion part later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna update on the screening. So I sent out the letter to like all the journals that were initially interested in our article, and only one replied back so far. But Lancet was pretty fast to reply back, and they told us not to include abstracts. So right now we're just gonna move forward.
Well, what did they say? What did they say?
They said citations to papers published or
non peer reviewed supplement. So that includes
the preprints.
the preprints.
Yeah. So no preprints, no abstracts, just plain full text articles. So we're gonna move forth with that. The risk of bias is done for Arnie and Sally and Eileen. They already finished it. They just need to update it on this sheet. But the risk of bias is done for all the papers, which is like 14 papers, full text articles. We finished extracting data, and I am outlining the manuscript. I have written the introduction, working on the methods, and I kind of want to. So my introduction, I just wanted to discuss a little bit. So basically, how I'm going forth with the introduction is I presented the cancer statistics that it's the second, it has the second highest death in America. And the estimated death, I stated that. And then I was talking a little bit about the screening landscape, how there is only general population screening for like 5 cancers, and that's also just for single cancer screenings. And then there's no cancer screenings for multi-cancers and a lot of the other cancers that are not included in those 5, 6 cancers. And then I was going to move on to like how this new multi-cancer screening platform is a blood-based liquid biopsy, which makes it so much easier and more accessible than tissue biopsy. And I'm going to explain a little bit about circulating tumor DNA. But like my question was what they wanted to was they wanted us to include why now is an appropriate time to do this review, and I wasn't sure how to work on that.
Well, because there's already people are still, now we are using it in clinic. There's a commercial product,
Okay.
and we don't even have a good review, or I mean, we can't do meta-analysis because they're not all different platform. But yeah, there's no comprehensive review on this topic. There's no literature, and then we need to know, is this really ready for prime time? And how to strategize, is it truly for all general population, and or should we strategize it to a high risk population, things like that. So I why now? Because there's not been a comprehensive study or review or comparison of different technologies, and yeah.
Okay. So do you think I should do like a definition of ctDNA, or I should only mention it in passing?
Definition.
Like I saw like how other papers would like
I think one sentence of definition is
one
fine.
sentence is fine. Oh yeah, because like other papers like mentioned like a whole paragraph, and I wasn't sure if I had to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then I wanted to talk to you about the diagrams. So I was thinking figure 1 would be the study selection, which is the Prisma diagram, which is what
Yeah.
I'm working on right now. So it'll be this diagram.
Yeah.
And then figure 2 would be the eligibility criteria, so the PICO. And then the inclusion exclusion criteria. So I'll just like arrange it in a table. And then table 2 is like something that I'm not sure of. So table 2 would be characteristics of studies, but I was wondering if I should divide that into like 2 tables, so that the first table would only be like, the baseline stuff, like I guess baseline is not the right word, but like the background information stuff, like the author year, what groups are there, like cancer group, control groups, the size, like how many people are there, age, sex. So that would only deal with those kind of things. And then there would be like a second table that deals with the actual screening method and like the statistics for the screening method.
I would say combine it, because
in one table.
Yeah, and then you can make that a landscape, not
okay.
Yeah, make it long. It's fine. That's some journals you have to look at this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like combining that, like so extracting the data, like the statistics for to be included, I was gonna ask for Eugene's help because I'm a little confused too. And because if you look at our data, it's very varied. Like there is a lot of like non-applicable stuff, and then they have some data, but then other journals don't. So I was like not sure how to organize this in a single coherent table, but I was gonna talk to Eugene about that.
So when we have this kind of different variables in terms of, hard to make it a table, maybe we can describe in a sentence the key points. We can do that as well. So let's talk about it more later.
Okay, so I'll talk about it with Eugene today, tomorrow, and then I will come talk to you with what I have Thursday or Friday. And so we're not doing a forest plot, right?
So what do you think, Eugene? No, what do you think? I mean, I think if we can do it, it's great, but I don't know if we have enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. The variables are too heterogeneous to collect. Even only.
Is there anything that's similar? Like even between like 3 or 4, we can do it. If we have a similar study, let's say ctDNA only, there's platforms different. Like I agree if it's ctDNA plus protein that we can combine it. But if it's like a ctDNA only, one used Guardant, one used Signatera, let's say I'm just giving like, and but they're all ctDNA only, then maybe we can argue we can pull it. What do you think?
I think to answer those questions, I think I have to look at it once again. I'll do it today.
But Chewy, what do you think? Is there like a similar platform study?
I think ctDNA platforms, there's like multiple studies dealing with that. I'm only concerned about how they presented the data. If it's
Yeah, I mean, if
comparable.
their outcome is only 5 type of cancer and the other says all cancer, then you can combine it. You know, the criteria has to be very similar, you know. So if
Like,
you, yeah.
So that was my only concern. Yeah, yes, there are studies that use ctDNA, but then like they look at like they say multi-cancer, but then they look at different cancers, and then the way they present their I guess like sensitivity, specificity is a little different. So I wasn't sure if that would be okay for comparison. But then again, I feel like it could be a stretch, but it could be done maybe with like maybe like 3. I don't know if it's worth it, but
It's possible to combine 3 data, but
yeah.
So yeah. So 3 or 4. If it's 2, no, it's too small. 3 or 4 is fine. So I'll give you criteria. Criteria has to be ctDNA only. It has to be same outcome, meaning like you can't combine 5 tumor type outcome to all cancer types. So it has to be at least, let's say if it's like a 25 cancer type and all cancer, you can combine. I mean, 25 is driving the whole, you know. So it outcome has to be same, and then the stage has to be same. If you're looking stage 1 to 4, but then the other is did study only in stage 1 and 2, you can't combine it. Like the stage has to be similar, or at least it could be like early stage or early so I think with that criteria you might be able to pull 3 or 4.
Okay. I will work with Eugene on that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And for the supplements, they wanted a full search term for one database. So I was gonna ask if Sally or Eileen can help us make the I have like a sample that they can look at. So if they can help us make it for the database, because I have all the search keywords and everything, just make it into a table. And then risk of bias assessment, this is also done. So it just needs to be made into this kind of presentable, pretty table. And I was gonna ask if one of them can manage it.
So explain to me, what are the colors?
Oh, so like basically risk of bias is you assess each of the articles that are included in your review. This is not our risk of bias, so their domains are different, but we have 5 domains, of which we decided to exclude domain 3 because that's not applicable to our study. But so we have 4 domains. So we assess, actually I can show. We assess each one, like each domain by reading through the article. And I want to pull it up. So we used Quadas too, which is the one apparently they use for like review, like journals included in a review article. So basically like they go through this whole thing where you write the title and everything, and then they look at the flow chart, and then they like domain 1 will be patient selection. Was there any bias in patient selection? You know, was it consecutive or random? Was it a case control? Was there inappropriate exclusions? Then so like every domain goes with like a different one. Then the domain 2 is index, domain 3 is reference standard. We got rid of this because there's no reference standard for multi-cancer screening. Then domain 4 is flow and time. So the the authors each got articles that they had to do this whole analysis for. So Liam, Eugene, Arnie, um, Sally, and Eileen. So they each got articles, and then they looked through each article, and then they assessed an overall risk of bias of each article, which they have summarized here. And this summary will be translated to a diagram. Sorry, Sungmi also had articles. Into a diagram that looks like this. So each domain will be have been assessed. So they're gonna put down low risk or high risk of or some concerns for each domain, and then we have an overall bias.
So Chui, can you go over one article that you assessed and show me the process? I want to make sure you did it right way.
Okay. So basically, this is the article by Klein.
Mhm.
And then the flow diagram just copy pasted the diagram that they had in the article, and then the patient selection. This article is a little different because they didn't really talk about patient selection just because it was a follow-up trial study from a previous trial. So I had to go back and look at their first, I guess, publication.
Yeah.
And I got I guess, the text from that publication.
Uh-huh.
And, the enrolled patients was not consecutive or random. So I said no. And then it was case controlled. So I said yes. And then I didn't think that they did any inappropriate exclusions, or at least they didn't mention any inappropriate exclusions. So I said they didn't do any inappropriate exclusions.
Right.
So I just thought that, 2 yeses, so the risk was low rather than high. And then, yeah, so concern about applicability. And I just felt like reading through that there was really concern that the included patients did not match the review question because we're looking at cancer patients plus a control, and we're gonna see if how the test works in these two groups. So I thought it was good enough. And then they looked at multi-cancer, which fits too. So I said there's no concern that the included patients do not match the review question.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next one was index test. Index test is basically, I guess, basically testing out the essay, like looking at the sensitivity, the specificity, like how the test is performing. Because we do not have a reference standard, I guess
Right.
the trial that they are dealing with in the article is going to be the index test.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So I took I just copy pasted information there in the article. Was the index well, they didn't have a reference standard, so yes,
Right.
it was interpreted without the knowledge of a reference standard. Could the interpretation of the index test have introduced bias? I thought no, because like they actually like mentioned in the paper that they did this to minimize bias, they did this and that. So I
Yeah.
thought, it's minimized.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And is there concern that the interpretation differ from the review question? I thought no, because after reading through, this is what we want we want, I guess, the original article to look at. So I said the concern was low. Reference standard, I asked everybody to skip because we don't have a reference standard. Yeah. Yeah, and then low end timing. I wasn't sure about because they don't have a reference standard, we don't really have like a interval time. So I did all that as unclear.
Unclear. Okay, that's fine.
So yeah. So yeah, basically I was gonna like mention it in I wasn't sure if I had to mention it in methods or results. that we
So-
don't have a
so-
reference standard.
Yeah, no, so I think that table. Does Lancet require you to submit that or no?
Which table?
Like the document you just showed me.
Yes.
So how about we're gonna submit that anyway? How about just make it supplemental table document?
Yeah.
And then you could just in the method put in parenthesis supplemental table figure or supplemental document.
Yeah, it's supplement 2.
Yeah. So they can refer to it. That I
Yeah.
think that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So they wanted it just as an attachment. So
Well, we'll go back to the diagram. So measurement of the output, selection of the reported results. So how did you deal with that one?
wait, which one are
Number 5, selection of the reported
No,
result.
no, this is a different ROB. We didn't use this ROB.
Oh,
So there are many risk of bias tools, and this is not a tool we used. We used the Quadas tool, which is
Oh,
for narrative review journals.
this is
This is
oh,
a different tool.
this
I
is
just like the diagram, so I brought the
I see, I
diagram.
see.
So Sally and Eileen can refer to this diagram when they're making our diagram.
I
So
see.
I just brought this as a sample that they
Oh,
can
as
look
a
at.
as
Yeah,
a sample. I thought
yeah,
this,
yeah. No, this is a sample.
So we have 4 domain.
We have 4, yes.
What are those? Just remind me again.
They are patient selection,
Uh-huh.
index test,
Uh-huh.
or we're not doing reference standard, flow and timing.
Flow and timing. Do you have it somewhere?
I can.
It would be great if Lancet takes it, because
I don't know. They want so much stuff.
Lancet or it could be like nature epidemiology or something. Because this is still, if you deal with general population, it's epidemiology. It's molecular epidemiology if you think about it.
That's true. Oh, sorry. There's only 3 domains. Sorry about that.
3 domains?
Mm-hmm.
Is that because we got rid of the index, the reference?
Yes. It's breaking.
Yes, but can I add just one thing?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I don't feel comfortable using Quadas for evaluating our article because we're not using reference. Articles in our study don't use reference method. So technically saying like domain 4 is about reference test. So technically saying only 2 domains are relevant for our studies. But still, I think it's our best as of now to use Quadas because yeah, Robin's the other like risk of bias tools are not matching our articles. So
show me the Quadas guideline. Show me what.
It's not opening. I don't know.
It's not opening.
Sorry, this is an old computer. It's not very fast. Yeah, can you share? Sorry.
You want someone else to open it?
Yeah, could someone share it? Sorry, my computer's acting up right now.
no, it's okay. I think I can. Yeah, I'll share it.
Yeah, so when we looked through all the risk of bias tools out there, there are only two that are applicable for studies included in a narrative review, and that was Quadas and Sign. But Sign is just a spin-off of Quadas. So honestly, this is like the best bet that we have. Like other risk of bias tools are like it's not applicable at all. So
Okay, so
Can
show
you
me the
see?
domains again.
Yeah, so this is the Quadas 2.
I think you need to share the screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So domain 1 is dealing with patient selection.
Uh-huh.
So it asks whether the study was
Yeah, I know all that.
Yeah.
So patient
And domain-
selection, low
index
risk,
tests
index test
for
is
us, early detection method, and then reference standard. It should be there. I think it's designed for the studies comparing two diagnostic tools side by side, but that's not applicable for our studies. But because most studies just see the one early detection test. Yeah.
So we
And
don't
then-
have a reference standard and then have flow and timing.
But flow and timing, it also deals with reference standard. There are so many questions asking about reference standard. So
Did all
most of us
patients
like
receive the reference
mark unclear. Yeah.
Did patient receive the same reference standard? Were all patient included in the analysis? Could the patient have flow, patient flow? So imagine a case where this is important, these questions. So if we're, let's say, COVID test, you have PCR and then you have an antigen test. Then was there an appropriate interval between index test and reference? If you were just comparing the outcome, did all patient receive a reference? Yeah, so this is for comparing two tests, reference and index.
Right.
But we don't have both. So like I agree, Eugene, that this may not be the right criteria. But still we can use the first and second domain.
Yeah, and we found the mention that
Uh-huh.
the background paper about this Quadas 2, it says according to the purpose of each paper, each review paper, the domain can be modified.
Okay.
So that's why we decided to use it anyway, because
Okay.
it says yeah.
So yeah, quotas
yeah.
2, and then you can put in the method that
Okay.
the domain number 3 and 4 are not relevant because we don't have a reference test. All the tests that are developed are to be used as an index, and there is no comparison. So the domain 3 and 4 are not relevant for our review. And then just to do a diagram with the two domains, and I guess the overall Juhi is more based on that domains. The overall, is there a rule for that overall?
It's a very subjective conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah. So still
They
put the
just want
overall.
us to make sure that we reviewed the paper well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
subjective. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yes, I think it's still fine to make the diagram with just the two domain and the overall. It just shows that we thoroughly reviewed the paper and we put how we reviewed the paper as a supplemental document. So yeah, I'm okay with all that. I mean,
Yes. So basically for this week, I will ask Sally or Eileen, who is available, if they can help me make the risk of bias table and a search term table, and start off a baseline characteristics table, and then I will ask the authors to finish up on the full text exclusions table, which also needs to be sent in as a supplement. I have I'm wrapping up introduction. Um,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and then Sunmi, Richard Duan, I think he's very motivated, right? So maybe you can ask Richard too if he's interested in helping out.
Oh, I initially asked him when he was here with me, but he was interested, but he was also worried
Mm.
that he wasn't sure if he had the bandwidth for two projects.
Oh, okay.
So it was a little, I don't know, not as passionate about it, so I just didn't go further with that.
Oh,
But
okay.
I can ask him again. Um,
Ask him again that, and then yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just has other projects going on,
Mm.
but and he's also has like exams. But I think if you give like a specific task that is within the undergraduate ability, and then you just give him like a specific time frame, like how long it should take, then I think he always has time. He's very enthusiastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, like Sally and Eileen has been amazing. So I might just stick with them for now. And if there's too many stuff to handle
Yeah.
that they might not be enough, then I might reach out to Richard. But right now I would like to give more acknowledgement to Sally and Eileen in the paper.
Yeah.
So I would like to stick to them for now.
Yeah. So
Um
yeah, I think it's becoming more like because Lancet clarified,
yeah.
yeah, the publication only, and that's what you really wanted to do. So we could stick with that and
Yeah.
follow whatever Lancet want us to do, and really, yeah, to follow their guidelines. I think we have something like a feasible project here now.
So I'll finish up introduction methods. I can manage that on my own. I will rely on Eugene a lot to figure out the results with me. Artie is gonna do all like the amazing diagrams, tables, whatever, like she always does. Liam will help with the writing, and I'm gonna ask. Um, I text Zuni about the writing part too. So like, I'll ask if they can help out with the writing.
Mm.
And um and then Singmi has been super helpful throughout, and I will ask if she can help more. I know she's in Korea. I feel terrible, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it's coming. It's coming, but it's a little slow. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Hopefully we get the gist of how to present the results by this week. And be able to wrap it up next week. Like at least like a super rough draft. But yeah. So that's my plan. I've been thinking about Korea. I feel I can dedicate 1 or 2 days maximum, but I'll have to see how it is in Korea first. So I hope to finish the roughest of drafts before I leave.
Sure. Good.
That's it for me.
Good. Thank you. So I guess for the best quality, I understand where Lancet's coming from, but if you're someone who wants to know where the field is heading and what kind of results are to be coming out, then of course the quality assessment has to be there, but still if you want to roughly know what's going on, then I think it makes sense to include abstract. A lot of reviews that I wrote all included abstracts, but for really like comprehensive analysis, meta-analysis, you need a lot of information, and without the manuscript you don't have access to it. So I think for mini reviews or understanding trends, you definitely need abstracts. So going forward, I'm just for future cancer meetings, this is sort of the baseline. So I do want Julie to publish this, But this would set a precedent about like, oh, this is the field right now, and then you have further published manuscript, future studies, as well as future abstracts can all be combined, and this could well be another future projects by just adding on the newly studies, and really our job as an so again, why are we doing this? It's not just to write a textbook or write a paper, publish a paper in Lancet. By the way, I don't know what the impact factor of Lancet is. Does anyone know? Can you look it up, Google? JCO is over 40. I didn't know that. Over 40 JCO. That's crazy. I think NEJM is heading towards 100.
Lancet is 79.
79.
What?
Yeah. 79. Which is crazy.
Okay, I don't know if Lancet wants the paper anymore.
So, Jui, this is your chance to publish in Lancet. Okay.
Oh no, it's 41. Because it's
Lancet.
Lancet Oncology, not Lancet.
Oh, this is Lancet Oncology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little different, but still, that's like super high.
yeah.
Now I don't know anymore.
41 is still amazingly high. Anyway, I bet. Well, yeah. So my point is, because no one has really published any a comprehensive review on this topic, you have a chance. Okay. If you write a good quality review. So a lot of projects get turned down because this is not the scope of our interest, or this is not the timely, or someone else published something similar, so we don't want this in our journal.
Yeah.
But they have no excuse. This is a topic no one ever published. This is a topic that is so amazingly relevant to public health.
Yeah.
So all the external pieces to publish is there, and the rest of it is, did they write? Is there a good writing? Is there a good table? Is there a good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there. The building pieces are there,
I agree.
and just, you know, if you think about it, you know, so again, the clinical research is hard. We see the case of Arnie and Zuni, it's hard. They go back to the chart, and you know, it's just always missing something, and you have to update it. And then sometimes it happens sometimes after publication. Oh, we included that after you submit the abstract, and then you fix a lot. To me, that's what you've done, right? You submit the abstract and then find out, oh, we should have excluded that patient. So, but then also review papers are hard because there's so many data out there, and you have to assess them in the right manner, and also in the discussion, you have to have the right point. What are the right discussion points that people can really learn? And is this a paper that it tells about the future, what's going to happen next, what has to happen next? So it's about writing a perspective, but it's also about a rigorous statistical, you know, comparison. So I think there's a lot to learn. Like once you write this one, everything else would be easier.
I hope so. I'm a little excited because maybe I caught her at a good time, but she replied within 10 minutes of my email. So, and she was very thorough with the reply. So
yeah,
I think they are interested.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
are
that we need to
interested.
present a good manuscript.
Yes. So these opportunities don't come often. Yeah, just like Minjung's manuscript, I think it will be published in a very good journal, because it's so thorough and it's never been discussed that way. Same thing. This one, you know, I think coming up with a good question is the 50% of all science. If you
That's
if
true.
you delve into wrong question, you waste your life. So this is my job as a mentor, leading you to a good question. What is a clinically relevant question? What are the questions of greater public health importance? I think transplant is important. I think transfusion is important. I think hyperprogression is important. I think knowing in advance what systemic therapy will work or not work in advance would greatly help our patients. I think knowing what combination would overcome resistance to immunotherapy, I think that's of great importance. So like I said, PhDs don't have a clue whether those are important questions or not. We as clinicians know they are important. And understanding what is important is asking, it set the tone for asking good questions. So if you have a good question, rest is just your skill set. Do you have a skill set to do a meta-analysis? Do you have a skill set to do correlation analysis? Or do you have a skill set to understand the algorithms of hyperprogression? And Arnie learned that, Junie learned that. And then you can learn from Eugene about meta-analysis and Minjung. So I think learning the skill set is like, any high school student can do. But coming up with the good question and good perspective, it's not something you can easily gain. It comes from many years of clinical practice. So that is why I think being a researcher and being clinical clinician is so a rare talent. If you can think clinically but still be a great scientist, I think that's what I want from all of you, because you guys are all MDs, but you guys are all scientists, and doing project like this will get you, get you a long way. Anyway, that's just my I always do that when I get excited. So I think you're doing great job, and I think we have a feasible deadline here. So, and then I think you're blessed with a great team. Like, imagine doing this all by yourself. This is
I can't. It's gonna take like 2 years to do it by myself. Like seriously, I feel bad for everyone else because like they were helping me so much because I got super stressed out last week, and then because I was leaving next week and I was like ranting about how stressed out I was, and then everyone just pushed their own projects and started helping me with mine, and I'm like, you guys are amazing.
Yes. So this is what this is collaboration. I'm great that you guys are helping each other, and this is sort of like what's going to happen when you go out, into different institutions. You've done this before, so you know how to make it happen. It's a teamwork. We talk about I'm a team player, but you don't know what true team play means unless you actually do it, right?
I don't know if I'm a team player. I keep ranting everything. But yeah, I'm so grateful. I know everyone's so busy, but like they just made time. It was amazing.
Yeah. So and then if you well, I guess if so the other thing is my job is to give you fair credit as much as possible. So you're the project lead, but we want to give you as much credit as you guys deserve. So we'll talk about it in the end when we know who contributed how much and all that. But again, this is like your learning opportunity, not some place to gain your credits. But yeah, I'm glad this project is moving forward. Yeah, so any questions in between, just feel free to ask me. Now don't wait till the next lab meeting.
Yes, I think the like once a week is not enough. So
okay. Anything else, Chui?
nope, that's it.
Okay. Eugene, do you have other things? I know you have other meta-analysis and everything else.
Yes. So briefly like updating you. Like I
Uh-huh.
talked with Seokju Cho last week.
He
and
called me.
yeah, so he already sent me the separated version for his narrative review. So I'm thinking of showing you that manuscript maybe later today or tomorrow
Okay.
after reading it. And then for cancer incidents, I'm still working on like selecting proper articles,
Uh-huh.
but I'm working on it. And yeah, I think we can start submitting the narrative review on cancer survivor first, and then proceeding with our incidents article. And for protocol itself, I think Liam can update you because we discussed about the calculation thing yesterday. And as of now, I we ended up with concluding that it's not feasible. It doesn't look like feasible plan, but I think we can discuss it later.
Well, yeah. So if we have time, I can share it now, or
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want- Okay, so if you can unshare the screen and I can share.
Oh, Liam, I
Yeah.
interviewed Dr. Yu Ji-sang.
Yeah, I actually heard. He messaged me.
Yeah. He said he wanted to do research for 6 months.
Yeah, that's what he'd like to do. He said he's going to email you again to confirm the exact details, but
Yeah. But what a small world. They said they know you.
yeah, we're actually really close friends from undergrad even. We were serving a lot together at like our campus ministry stuff.
Mm.
And his wife was like just one class above me, so I knew her really well and him really well, and they like dated and got married. And
Wow, what a small world.
it's really fascinating.
Yeah. And I think he is a friend of Yuno.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so so these are the updates mainly regarding the transfusion protocol. So we reached out to Versity and the Red Cross to see if we can get the demographic information of their donors. Versity was unfortunately unable to share exact numbers. All they can tell us is that most of their donors are retired, and for privacy reasons, I believe they weren't able to give us any more specifics other than that. Red Cross was a bit more.
Wait. I don't understand. What number did you exactly ask?
Oh, so we wanted to look at the median age of the donors so we can calculate the average incidence rate of cancer and then use that to see how much of that will translate. So we have the calculations, we're getting there. Versity could not provide us information. Red Cross was very helpful. They sent us an article actually that used their data set, and it shows us the summary of the donor characteristics of donors who donated at the Red Cross between June to November in 2020. So this is a really big cohort, and this is the chart from that article that they sent us. So it's a cohort of 1.5 million.
Wow.
And this is the age bracket right here. It breaks down, but we can see that the age distribution is very skewed for the elderly population, with 55 plus age group donating more than 41% of donors. So, me and Dr. Eugene were discussing this, and when it's so skewed like this, there's no point in choosing the median age because it's not representative of anything. So we were thinking that we would just argue that because more than 40% of donors come from the elderly population, we'll just use the elderly population and just go with that and just use that as an assumption. So
okay, that's fine. But at least we have a reference and argument.
Yeah.
But I never knew older people donating half?
Yeah, almost half according to the Red Cross, and that was really fascinating. And yeah, because if we use a median, it would be somewhere between the 40 to 54 age gap, and that has, in my opinion, that means nothing. So yeah, I think it's better to go with the older population, and that's good for our kind of numbers too. So I went
Right.
to the NIH National Cancer Institute to look at the cancer incidence. Obviously, cancer risk goes up with age. And the scale is a little small, but if I just expand that. So it basically at about 60 years of age, the incidence goes beyond 10,000 per 100,000 persons. And then around age 70, it's above 1,500 per 100,000. And in the 80s age group, it's around 2,000 per 100,000. And so this is the data that we're able to find there. And just an interesting fact was the median age of cancer diagnosis was 66 years. So again, something we can kind of refer to. So here is the calculations we did to look at how many people would have to kind of screen or enroll.
Right. Yeah.
So using the overall cancer incidence, and here the incidence, I kind of broke it down into three categories just to play with the numbers a little bit. 1% for the 60s age group, 1.5% for the 70s, 2% for the 80s age group. And then here, we are using the transmission rate for solid organ transplants from the UK article. And that transmission rate was at 0.06%. So if we multiply these two, it comes down to this bottom three lines here. The numbers become pretty ridiculous really quickly. So if we're looking at the 60s age group, the chances of us finding a cancer incidence that translates over to a transfusion or transplant recipient is 0.006%. And if you do the math, it's every one case per 166,000 people.
Wow.
And, if we want to, increase our chances and go with the 80s age group, it still comes down to one case per 80,000. So the numbers look pretty ridiculous to us at this point.
Wow.
Almost to an unfeasible, impossible kind of range. So this was using overall cancer incidence. We tried to look at it with the CTC incidence in a healthy population from an article in 2004. The numbers are even worse here because the incidence rate, according to that, was 1 out of 145, which is not even 1%. So if we use
what is this incidence? Finding CTC in
healthy population, yeah. So they found 1 out of 145.
Well, was it one case or this is, how many did they look?
Yeah, so out of 145.
Oh, that's everybody. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's the total number, and they just had one case. So that gives us a statistic of 0.7%. And again, if we multiply that with the transmission rate of 0.06%, we have one case every 238,000 people. We just played around with the numbers a little more. So this is a different or more recent CTC incidence from a healthy population. They looked at two different kind of methods of checking. So this one, the statistics are slightly better with the incidence rate of around like 8 to 10%. But again, if we multiply that with the 0.06%, each of them comes out to 5 cases for 100,000 people. 5 to 6 cases for 100,000 people. So still like a case for every 20,000. So it's still going to be a very expensive study if we proceed in any way.
So wait, before we proceed, Eugene, can you explain the transmission rate? What the basis of that, where that number came from? One more time. I know you explained it before, but
yes, I think I can. So for the number 0.06, it's coming from one of the biggest article, study done by Desai et al. And Liam, can I share my screen for a moment? By the way, Juhi made a reservation for lunch at 11:45. Do you think we can go there or just keep?
11:45?
Yes.
So I I I
You have a meeting? Let me
yeah, there's a meeting
Mhm.
at
Okay.
12 o'clock that I have to attend.
Oh,
They asked me how many people are in my lab. I said 3 of them are here, and they said they'll bring a sushi plate for all of us.
which will be our lunch for today.
At 12 o'clock, the sushi is coming. So
Wow,
maybe we will go out for dessert or something.
that sounds fair. That sounds fantastic. The better. Yeah, maybe better than Riverwalk lunch. But yeah, for that number, I think this was the article. CTC. Mm, so yeah, the 0.06 coming from this article, which I presented also as a presentation.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the biggest result from biggest transplantation registry.
Yeah.
They reported, so they reported, but I looked up other articles reporting donor transmitted cancer, and interestingly, some article reported higher incidence for only primary CNS malignancy. So I think I can come up with the better number, maybe other number other than 0.06 if I proceed with more research. But as of now, we used only number coming from only one article.
But can you show that quote from that article? 0.06. I want to
0.06. Yes, I think I can. Yeah. Just give me a sec. Maybe I can share it there.
So Liam, I'm thinking if we blindly just get ctDNA from donor and recipient, even if we get the better numbers, I don't think it's going to be feasible. I agree with you. At best, because of the funding restraint, we can screen 500. I mean, that's a lot. Still, 500 is a lot. But 500 will not cut it. So I would say if the 500s were, let's say, all GRAIL positive, let's say we do GRAIL on everybody, like several thousand. So, and then that's still funding. That's still funding. So it only makes sense to say ctDNA showed something. Then we can check them for CTCs. You know what? There has to be a screening step.
Yeah. If we make a condition, yeah.
Yeah, but even to get to that ctDNA positive group, you still have to run the test so many patients. But because the transplant transmission is so low, even transplant group, I'm thinking, whether it's feasible for the transplant cohort or not, right?
So yeah, Dr. Che, this is the article that I came up with a number. So here it says cancer transmission is associated with donor age, and per this data, organs from 13 donors transmitted cancer, giving a cancer transmission rate of 0.09% for donors and 0.06% for organs transplanted. So the percentage is a little bit different.
So what does that mean for donors? What
For
is it?
donors, yeah, for donors, they they calculate the case numbers compared to the with the criteria of the donor number. But apparently one donor can give multiple organs, right? So if we consider the organs as like denominator, then the numbers goes down a little bit.
I see. Yeah. So the organ is the right one. I think donor can, yeah. So you kind of double count for donor.
Yeah, apparently like
Yeah. So donation after blood death, it goes up to 0.14.
interesting. I think they 0.14 is coming from donation after brain death donors. If they included only brain death donors, not living donors,
Oh,
the rates goes up a little bit, but still, I think it goes up a lot, more than double. Yeah.
there was no case of cancer transmission from living donors. Huh. I wonder what that is. Why that is.
No case of cancer in living donors.
What is DCD?
I'm trying to find it. DCD was donation after circulatory death.
So really like dead body. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the rates are a little bit different among the donor specific condition, but still not that high. Oh, actually, I think they just divided it. So they detected 13 donors who gave cancer to the recipients. And among 13, 9 come from
Brain dead.
And 4 came from DCD.
But what about living donors? That's living. Well, the living donor is brain death donors, right? No.
I don't think.
Oh, that's 9. Well, who's living donor then?
So like a kidney transplant, for example.
Yeah, but then the 13 donors didn't. It's all.
Sorry.
I guess the living donors were had 0.
Yeah, they had
zero
0.
transmission
Okay.
rate. Yeah.
So it's. Wow, there must be multiple living donors, but what's the living donor surgery cases?
It's still like 6,000.
6,000 still? Yeah.
Approximately, because the total number of donors is about 15,000. Then we have 6.5 thousand and then 16,000. So yeah, still a big chunk.
But 0. Wow, that's very interesting. I wonder why it is. Was it a random chance or yeah?
Maybe we
Maybe
can
random
ask.
chance.
Yeah, I think donors' health status affects, maybe not knowing the mechanism, but affects to the cancer transmission rate.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to find out, but I don't know how.
Yeah. Okay,
But-
so I think it's a fair assumption to say this is the data from organ transplant. The blood transfusion, the best they can get is close to this number. I think thinking about the amount of blood they get.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say based on this, I think just randomly getting blood will not be able. I mean, there's a high failure rate that we will not be able to detect it. So
No.
I think it's better not to do blood transfusion, but with the same in the same manner, like the question is, what about the transplant? Is that number, I mean, I think we have to look at other papers to make sure that it's that low. But here's the thing. Even if that patient does not develop cancer, so CTC may be cleared by their immune system, like a GVHD.
True.
So one might argue, let's say we prove that CTCs go, ctDNAs go with the surgery. They get transplanted as well. But then they quickly get cleared up from a good immune system. Then the actual cancer instance is that low, but actual CTC transfer rates is going to be high. But again, it's 1 in 100 patients that the cancer instance in that age group, right? So there's so many things that works against us in terms of proving anything experimentally or so I think the epi data is the best we can get. I think we have a funding and interest group, so maybe we should refocus. Maybe we could say early cancer detection for donors and recipients, because organ transplant recipients are at risk of cancer development because of immune suppression, not let alone contamination, but just immune suppression. So it makes sense to do something like GRAIL every year for them. And then some of them will be contamination, some of them will be just immune suppression. So we can make a case that we should do something with GRAIL to do the cancer screening for this group of patients and see what we find. But we might not find anything. Like age appropriate is 5 patients out of 500. But we never know. That's actual cancer coming up, but the ctDNA world, maybe there's something we find, and maybe it's in the immune editing phase. We don't know. So that's one. And then if we find something in ctDNA, we can do CTC.
Yes.
I don't think it makes sense to do CTC in everybody, but ctDNA is a screening tool for general population anyway, so we can do it in high-risk population. So that makes sense. But transfusion is going to be more difficult. Transplant is, makes sense that in, what I just said. And donor, I think screening wise, it makes sense if they donate blood, and the donor doing GRAIL is going to be a little bit, but still, we don't know how CTC gets transferred. There may be CTCs. What if there's a CTC coming from, the other thing is we talked about clonal hematopoiesis. You can have those
Random.
abnormal blasts, contaminate, and that can shed ctDNA as well.
Right.
So, so what happened to donor ctDNA and recipient ctDNA? I think just understanding that outside all these contamination theory is still of interest, I think. I don't know. So any thoughts to make this project more feasible, or changing the focus a little bit? Eugene or Liam, any thoughts?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
oh, just one thing. I think I already mentioned that here, even in this paper, like multivariate analysis found out that the transmission rate was significantly associated with donor age over 45 years old or older. So I think it's definitely worthy to start with some specific groups, like with higher risk or higher chances to transmit cancer, even for transplantation, I think. Yeah, I think we have to be more selective, selective if we really want to conduct like
Yeah, I agree. Donor donor age maybe 40
yeah.
would be good.
Mhm.
Donor 40 or above based on that rationale.
Right.
And screen donor and recipient with ctDNA. If ctDNA is positive, we'll do ctDNA. And really learn. I mean, what happens? I mean, we can say based on these papers, what's the likelihood of finding it, but who knows? It may be a lot higher.
Right.
We never know what we're going to find. Any other thoughts, Liam?
No, so I was just thinking, so if we want to just focus primarily on transplants alone, do we want to just focus on lung transplants, or do you want to expand it to other organ transplants too?
Other.
That sounds.
Yeah, and because I was just thinking, if it was just going to be lung transplant, maybe we can just tag it to the double lung transplant protocol that we're working with. But yeah, if we want to expand it with other organs, then I guess it makes sense to keep it separate.
Yeah, I want, but I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of communication. Then I would have to reach out to all these transplant surgeons and make sure. It's just a lot of work. Then because now it's working with GI, GU, cardiac team, and just arrange blood draws for each operations. But then the lung transplant volume is not big enough to get to our number.
I think we should definitely include the kidney transplantation population.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so I think if we decide to do it, I think we could do all transplant. Yeah, it's a daunting task.
it's a daunting, but let me just share. I think I'm gonna read it thoroughly, and maybe I can present it next week. But I think here actually last year, 2 years ago, like a systematic review study was released on donor transmitted cancer only in kidney transplant recipients. And I try to look at the incidence, but they didn't report incidence itself, but they only included like a relevant paper 128 representing 234 recipients. And they detected quite a lot of lymphoma and melanoma and other like cancers, which they assume be transmitted from donors. And it says still melanoma and lymphoma are still difficult to detect and prevent in recipients after transplantation. So I think there's still like clinical needs or unmet needs in terms of preventing cancer in recipients, organ recipients. So I think it's worthy to be researched, but yeah, I think the problem is how we can design the study. So I'm pretty surprised to see this number. it's pretty a lot, right? 48 lymphoma in 235 recipients.
But these are based on the case reports and series.
Yeah.
Right.
We-
That's
we-
yeah,
yeah,
right.
we don't know the denominator.
Incidents. Yeah, that's true. That's so yeah. That's true. But still, case reports are pretty a lot on this issue.
Yeah.
Then also there are like so many kidney transplants happening every year. So
Oh, that's true.
Mm. This is tough. But based on our discussion, I think transfusion for I definitely CTC. I don't think we should do it. I think it's so transfusion, ctDNA. I don't know what we can find because we have to screen too many. Transplant, you can argue a little bit different. So maybe Liam, you can look into transplanted population, lung or kidney, whatever, like under systemic immune suppression, what are their cancer incidents? And would that incident different, year 1, 2, 3 of transplant surgery, how did it change? And that might justify to call them as a high-risk group and do at least ctDNA screening. And then what part of them are actual cancer contamination? Then you could go back to donor and banked blood to see if there's CTCs in there or not. I think at least we could do that with the transplant group and kind of come up with numbers.
Okay.
Any other thoughts?
no, I think that's all for now. We'll have to do a little more thinking.
Yeah.
Agree.
Okay. Okay, we'll wrap up here for today, and then Liam and Eugene, we can talk about the MRD essay and the statistics behind it one more time after lunch. Are you coming in, Liam, or are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm coming in right now.
Okay. Okay. I will
Thank you.
talk to you guys later.
See you soon.
Thank you.